In this example, we're going to add these two complex numbers together and then write their sum in standard form. So the first thing I notice is that we have square roots here, and of course there is a negative underneath the square root. So we're going to have to simplify those. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. So we have negative 3 plus the square root of a negative 12. Okay, so let's go ahead and divide this radical up. So we're going to have a product here. It's the square root of 12 times the square root of negative 1. Okay, and now let's go ahead and do that for the second one. Plus 9 plus, and it's going to be the square root of 27 times the square root of negative 1. And this is important to divide this up into the two separate square roots that are being multiplied together, because we need to turn this square root of a negative 1 into an I. Okay, and then we can simplify the square root of 12 and the square root of 27 just as we would any other square root. So negative 3 plus, okay, so let's go ahead and tackle this square root of 12. So in order to simplify this radical, I'm going to find its prime factorization. So the prime factorization of 12 looks like it'll be 2 times 2 times 3. Okay, so 2 times 2 times 3. And of course, here's a pair of 2's that I can pull out, because 2 times 2 is 4, and that's a perfect square. So positive 3 plus, we have 2 radical 3i. Okay, and then of course this plus 9 just kind of keeps coming down for the ride. And then let's shuffle over. Let's go ahead and simplify this square root of 27. So for 27, we'll find the prime factorization first. And it looks like that's just going to be 3 times 3 times 3, which here's a pair of 3's, which can come out because 3 times 3 is 9, and that's a perfect square. So it'll end up with 3 radical 3i. Okay, so the first thing we did was we tackled the square roots of these negatives, and we rewrote the square root of negative 12 as 2 radical 3i, and the square root of negative 27 as 3 radical 3i. So now we can go ahead and add the real parts together. So negative 3 plus 9 is 6. And then 2 radical 3i plus 3 radical 3i. They are common radical terms here. So 2 plus 3 is 5 radical 3i. And when you're writing your answer, just make sure this I is outside or far enough over that there's no confusion if the I is under the radical or not under the radical. So put a little space here and make sure your radical bar ends and then your I is on the outside. So that's the sum written in standard form, a plus bi.